Hi guys, welcome to the second video in the list of videos for 6D. We're going to be talking about measures of inscribed angles, and we're working with example 1 from your textbook. So we're told in circle O here that measure of AB, the measure of BC, and the measure of AD and DC. Now make sure all of those have your arc symbols over the tops of them, so write those in. You're going to find the measures of the numbered angles by using these pieces. So let's put some labels on. From A to B is 140 degrees for that arc. From B to C is 100 degrees for that arc. And then we're told that arc AD is congruent to arc DC. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't look right to me. So I just want to stress the importance of knowing that this diagram here is not drawn to scale. Okay, that's what NDTS means. And it's possible that that may happen on your quiz, so just be aware of that. What that means, you guys, is that you're just going to go on the measures, the numbers that are given to you in the example, rather than going by what it looks like. So we're going to take, and if we want to find those missing measures that we just marked congruent there, we're going to take 360 and we're going to subtract what we know. That's going to leave me with 120 degrees left over in the circle that has to get split into those two congruent pieces. So we're going to get 60-degree arcs there, and it's important to start by knowing kind of all the different pieces of the circle, because now all I have to do is think about using my theorem, which allows me to cut the arc measure in half to get the angle. So I'm going to start with the first measure that I was given, which was 140 degrees here. And you can see that the angle ACB is inscribed off of that. So this is angle 4 is measure of angle ACB, and we're just going to take half of 140 and easily, very easily, I hope, get that half of that is 70. Moving on to the next value for an arc that we were given, 100. I hope you can see the intercepted arc there, BC, actually has not one, but two inscribed angles coming off of it. So we've got angle 3 there, but we've also got angle 5 here going off of that same arc, okay? So we've got two different measures that we can come up with by just doing half of 100. So we've taken care of the measure of angle 3 and the measure of angle 5. Now we want to go on and find the measure of angle 1 and 2. So if we look at 1, angle 1 here has chords coming off of it to cut and intercept off arc AD, which we have already figured out its measure is 60 degrees. So for angle 1, we're going to do half of 60, and we're going to get 30. And then also we know that arc DC is congruent to arc AD, remember? And arc DC here is where angle 2 is inscribed off of. So if we're going to use that calculation of 60 degrees again for the arc, we get 30 degrees again for the angle. So that should back up the theorems that you saw in your vocab video with some practice, and we'll go on to the next example. So this one's not in your book, but it's the same type of situation there. In circle F, the measure of arc WX is 20, the measure of arc XY is 40, the measure of arc UZ is 108, and we're told that the measure of UW is the same as the measure of YZ. So please make sure you're putting all your arc symbols across the top there. Let's put some labels on. WX is 20, XY is 40 degrees, and then UZ, from U all the way over to Z here, is 108 degrees. And then also the rest of the circle there, U to W and Y to Z, are going to be congruent. So I'll put congruent markings on those arcs as well. Now we're going to start finding some missing measures. I think the first one that we can find is right off of the measure of angle 2 there that you see. which is right off of the 40 that was given to us. So if we take the 40's intercepted arc and cut off the inscribed angle 2, we're just going to cut the 40 in half, and we get 20 degrees. Moving on from there, we're going to take and look at measure of angle 3 next, because angle 3 is inscribed here off of the arc UZ, which we were told was 108. So we're going to cut 108 in half, and we're going to get 54 for the measure of angle 3. After that, I think it makes sense to go ahead and figure out the rest of those measures of the circle. So again, we're just going to do a quick subtraction. 360 minus what we already know, minus the 20, minus the 40, and then minus the 108. And if we do that subtraction, we get 192, which then needs to be split between arcs UW and YZ. So we get 96. And I'm going to put that on the diagram. 96 here and here. So the thing that we want to do next is to figure out what angles are going to be inscribed off of what we just found. And I hope that you can see angle UTW here, or angle 1, is inscribed off of that missing, or what was missing, the arc UW, which we just found. So that's going to be angle 1, half of the 96, and we get 48. After that, we're going to look at angle 4, and I think for that one we actually want to get a little bit more space to work with here. So for angle 4, I hope you guys can see that angle 4 is actually part of a triangle that's been put inside the triangle, inside the circle here. So I'm going to redraw that triangle, and our angle 4 is in the corner. And our angle 3 we've already found is 54 degrees, remember? And our angle 2 we've already found is 20. So for a quick subtraction there, we take 180 minus the 20 minus the 54, and that's going to give me that angle 4 has to be, 106 degrees. And then also angle 5 here, we should have actually connected back to when we did the inscribed angle 3, okay, because angle 3 and angle 5 are both inscribed off of the same arc, this arc right here that we had labeled from the beginning, UZ. See, we got one here and one here coming off of the same one. So angle 5 we can just put in, no new calculations, and that's 54 degrees. So that's the end of our work.